Now this is the back of the endoscopy tower, where you can see the equipment has been connected and then it gets finally connected to this power supply. So now if there is disturbance anywhere in the circuit, anything which is attached to the circuits will show that interference and will show that disturbance. One important thing is earthing the machine. As you can see, apart from the 3-point jack, there is also this knob here which is connected to the ground. This is a separate earthing which is required for all machines, and you need to connect an earthing wire from here directly to the hospital ground earthing. So this earthing point discharges any extra charge or disturbance in electricity through the earthing into the ground. So usually people connect their power supply thinking that here the earthing which is there in this plug in this socket is enough, but we need to do a separate grounding of the medical devices using this point to the hospital ground. So one thing which you need to understand, that the RF system consumes a lot of electricity at the time of RF generation. Whenever we switch it on, you sometimes notice that your monitor can go blank, your camera can go blank, and when you release the RF, the camera image comes on, and it is very distracting and disturbing during the surgery. So how to prevent this phenomena? You need to connect the RF and the RF machines separate from the monitor and the camera system, and electrically isolate them. So another device which I now would like to show to you is called a isolation transformer. The role of this isolation transformer is to isolate the equipment electrically from the other devices which are a potential source of disturbance in the circuit. So like I said, so electrocautery or any electrosurgical device generates a lot of static and a lot of radio frequency and a lot of load on the circuit which causes disturbance. So once we connect the entire system, we don't connect everything to one power board and then connect it to the power supply. What we have done here is that the RF machines are connected directly to the power supply, whereas the monitor, the camera system is connected via an isolation transformer. Here we want to isolate our more sensitive equipment like the camera supply and the monitor from any electrical disturbances. So in between we put an isolation transformer so that any amount of disturbance, static electricity or extra current or extra frequency, anything gets absorbed by the isolation transformer, and a steady frequency is given to the camera system. In this way you can ensure the protection from static to your more sensitive devices and prevent their damage, and ensuring a longer life and more reliability for these equipment. So remember friends, connect the monitor and the camera system to an isolation transformer. This isolation transformer will now get connected to a constant UPS power backed battery supply. The RF machine will get connected directly to the OR power supply and not to a UPS, and to protect this we can connect them to a CVT. The stabilizers we don't use in the clinical setting, they are not recommended. For high power generating units we should use a constant voltage transformer. For systems which are much more prone to break down if they are suddenly switched off, for example systems that gradually boot up and some sort of a software gets launched before the machine gets on, they should be protected by a UPS power supply. Your camera system and your monitor should be isolated from the circuit by use of a isolation transformer. Now what will happen if we connect everything together to one power supply or a one electrical board which will supply all these devices? So now you have set up your OR and your electrician tells you, sir, that the entire OT is supplied by a CVT line or is supplied by a UPS line, but still you find that your equipment is not performing up to the mark, they are getting damaged, or when you switch on the cautery there is a lot of disturbance on the monitor. That is because what we have done is that we have connected all the equipment together and then put it in the UPS or put it in the power supply. So even if one machine in the circuit is faulty, the entire circuit will get the disturbance transmitted and all the equipment will get the effect of that disturbance. That is why to isolate these sensitive equipments, we should again use a isolation transformer, and these kind of practices will increase the life of your medical equipment.